Hey guys, Nick here, and today we're getting into part 20 of What If Dale Survived the Remake. After the big plot twist of Daryl, Glenn, Maggie, Tyrese, and Sasha being back, we delve into the question in today's episode, in 2 episodes, this one and then the next one, covering the entirety of what happened, of how in the frick these people survived and who else may have survived. That's what we're tackling with half of it today, because all of it would be over 40 minutes or something. Anyways, before we get into that, did you guys know that physicists believe that there are 2 alternate realities? One in which you subscribe to the Nick's Topics YouTube channel, and one in which you unfortunately, whatever the case may be, don't. Well, here's the first universe. If you don't subscribe to Nick's Topics YouTube channel, you will be bitten by a walker from The Walking Dead. Yeah, that's right. And then you'll unfortunately have to join the dead. But here's the cooler twist, if you would be interested in such a scenario, and one of you guys wanted me to do this with Rick in the future, if you do subscribe, you will get bit but get walker powers. So it's a mixed package, but the walker powers thing, with your integrity still being halfway intact, definitely would, influence me to hit the subscribe button if I did not own this channel. So I'd hit that subscribe button if that is what you want. Anyways, let's get into the story. So, I bet that all of you are probably asking yourselves,
alright, would anyone care to explain?
After the recent development bringing Daryl, Glenn, Maggie, Tyrese, and Sasha back, even though I kind of brought back Lizzie, Mika, and all those other people, but those were way more side characters than these main ones, obviously. And you might think that it's complete and utter BS that I seemingly just out of nowhere after that killer freaking episode with part 13, went out of nowhere, used the Dragon Balls, and brought him back as if it were a day, just another day's work. Like it was not a big deal that I just killed all these characters off and I just brought them back to life out of nowhere. Better yet, it's almost like I used Whis as my little trusty little loyal minion and boop, just reverse time as if it never happened. Well, it's not as simple as that. Remember when I said that I was really conflicted after, that dark ending? Because I thought it was the ending. But truth is, I found a workaround. Especially when Martinez saved Rick. So let's reverse ourselves back to when the governor shot at everybody after Morgan shot at him. And what actually happened. So, the governor shoots at the direction behind him, towards Woodbury, and all of Rick's friends. Keep in mind you, the governor and every one of the soldiers, as well as Rick, Morgan, Carl, and Lori and all them, they were at the front of Woodbury, the entrance. The governor's men, a little bit more upwards. But like Lizzie, Mika, Bob, Milton, and all them, and Karen and David, Sasha, Maggie, Tyrese, and Glenn, they were all in the back, farther than Lizzie, Mika, and all those who escaped. So, even though whenever the governor turned to them and they all knew that they were about to get shot at, even though they knew that if they left their friends, they'd most likely be leaving them to die, whatever happened, and the 4 of them literally just dipped. But didn't come without a cost because all of them at least wound up with a bullet wound in some part of their body. Luckily, not fatally, that we know of. But Daryl, he sees this, but he's not mad. If anything, it's the best case because he knows that they're not dead, at least to his knowledge, but everything's happening so fast at once. So while this is happening, Daryl takes this opportunity to quietly signal and whisper to Michonne and Dale that they're next. And the governor might not be noticing them trying to get away and everything and what's all happening, but they need to be ready for when he targets them. So, when the governor does target them, Daryl signals, and Daryl's plan is set into motion. The governor shoots at Daryl with his crossbow, but luckily, Daryl is able to dodge roll out of the way, but still ends up with an arrow in his chest. And this would bring back a Season 2 moment, where he got the arrow in his chest from falling. Jeez, that was painful. Not to watch, but just painful to imagine. But anyways, he still acts like he's dead because far be it from him to get himself killed by the guy who just killed everyone who didn't get away. Like Herschel, Beth, and Carol. People that we, didn't get more notice on so far. And Michonne, she's not so lucky. Sure, she manages to get out of the way, but whenever the governor aims her own sword at her, unfortunately, her arm gets cut off in the process, so she falls to the ground regardless, still faking the act of death, but very much an injured, so it's almost like it's real. I guess cutting off the governor's hand in the comic, Tyrese's hand in the show, and Morgan's hand in the comics, I guess that all came back to bite Michonne in the butt in this story.
Right? Am I right?
Even though besides the governor, Michonne did it just because it needed to be done. But it's more or less a joke because, it's a very funny and, poetic comeback. And Dale, he's another one that's not so lucky because, sorry, I'm still laughing at that recent thing. He manages to move out of the way from his own rifle shot, but still gets shot in the side. And even though he's an old man, and this hurts a lot, he manages to duck from whatever comes next. And him, Michonne, and Daryl all just stay down until all the gunfire, the immense amount of yelling, Rick, and everything stops. Until Woodbury is a complete ghost town. And everything's silent. Besides hearing a few, but a lot, Walker groans. Then Daryl's like, no, we gotta get up now. Whatever is happening, we gotta move. So, with that, they all try to stand up, injured, and then tend to themselves as fast as they can. Daryl gets the arrow out of his chest, much like he did Season 2. Michonne gets up, but then, very achy, weakly, and, kind of near death's door, realizes that she just lost a limb. So, she has lost a lot of blood, and untreated, Michonne is definitely not at 100%. But being Michonne, she does not die. But it's not exactly putting her in a good place either. Dale is much more, if not maybe around the same boat as Michonne, being an old man and being shot in the side. Luckily, he is okay. But, like I said, being an old man, he is definitely not at 100% either. And you guys, I bet, are really happy that Dale is still alive, because a bunch of you were wondering, well, if Dale's dead, why is the story still called What If Dale Survived? Well, obviously, I couldn't continue the story if I didn't bring Dale back somehow. It'd be no point to it. Anyways, he is wondering himself, what's happened to everybody? Did they all leave too? What's happened? Daryl says he doesn't know much of what happened before he signaled to Dale and Michonne. But he does know that Glenn, Maggie, Tyrese, and Sasha managed to escape. So, for all they know, they could still be alive, as well as Rick and maybe more survivors. But from what they're seeing, people have died. He just doesn't know how many or how few, because there's walkers everywhere, there's dead bodies everywhere. It's really, and they're injured, it's really too much to keep track of, so they just need to leave. Woodbury is doomed at this point. Michonne says, why don't they stay at least a little longer to not only recollect themselves after what's just happened, but maybe see if there's other survivors here. They could be hiding in the freaking buildings, as much as she doesn't want to stay here because of the governor literally almost killing them. But Dale, he agrees with Daryl that if they stay, as much as he would like to find more people too, they're not in any position to exert themselves more than they have to. So, if anything, while Michonne's right about recollecting themselves, they can do that when they find a place that's not slowly going to get surrounded by walkers. So they should just leave. This is not safe anymore. So, with that, Daryl, Michonne and Dale very achy at first, get themselves up. Daryl a little bit more intact, but still hurting. And they all collect themselves to the best of their ability in the short time period. And with that, they don't run, but they do speed walk out of there, because they need to do something to get away. They're not going to let themselves get bit after surviving, because the walkers become more present, and these are the walkers that Morgan kills. So, that's where we're at in this flashback. Now, the three continue, and they go on the road for quite a while, and they're all bruised and battered up, and soon enough, they find the church that Daryl and Beth went to after Beth got hurt from the bear trap, and they went there to collect themselves, and that's where Beth was taken. And that's where Daryl, Michonne, and Dale find themselves. And like the original Daryl, Daryl knows that something's not quite right here. Seems like a trap, or someone's in there. And sure enough, this time, they actually hear someone. Or more than one person. And Daryl's like, no. We just survived. We ain't gonna risk almost dying twice. And he gets his knife, which is still on him, by the way, because they had to leave their weapons in case that's how Morgan gets the weapons. They literally had to leave their weapons. But when he turns the bend, Maggie comes out of nowhere with a machete and literally almost chops Daryl's head off. But Daryl, luckily, is able to nearly dodge this because he's still injured, mind you. And they see each other, they reunite. It's a very good reunion. And they talk about how they've survived. And that Daryl doesn't blame Maggie, Glenn, Tyrese, and Sasha for getting the crap out of there when they did. Because had they not, they would have become literal bullet meat for the governor. Bullet meat? I don't know if that's really sensical, but you guys get what I mean. They would have been dead. So, I kind of did make them dead in part 13. You could call this a reversal. I don't know why I'm explaining this, but I'm just talking about bullet meat. Anyway, Tyrese comes out of the corner too, and he's here, and he mentions why Maggie attacked and why they're still here, because they were not only trying to collect themselves, but figure out a plan, because Glenn and Sasha were taken. And Daryl's like, taken? By who? Did the governor? Is he still alive? Did his men come here or something? And no, it's not him. They were taken by a car with a cross on the back. And this is the Grady Memorial Hospital group. Maggie says that they were just about to leave after trying to collect themselves for as long as they can, to either see if they would come back or just figure out a plan to get there and figure out a way there, or wait for more survivors. It was literally a waiting game. And when they heard them, like Daryl and them, Maggie thought that they were the people. And Dale's like, a cross? That must mean they came from a hospital. And then he says to the group, You don't think... Daryl says he definitely knows. It has to be a hospital from Atlanta. The cross and everything that they explain, it's Grady Memorial. So, because I guarantee you that Dale and, like, maybe Tyrese or Sasha would know about it. Daryl, not so much, but they would definitely get the clue. And he says that they're going to go to Grady Memorial, rescue Glenn and Sasha, and kill everyone there. Tyrese is like, even though they've been through, like, everything after literally almost dying, Tyrese is like, can't we try to talk them out? It's a hospital, and it had a cross and everything. We should definitely try to talk it out. There might be more to these people, and they just needed help or something. Maybe they were trying to help them. Michonne says, no, they kidnapped them. There is no help. And she even shows that she lost a limb and everything to prove her point further. This is a very weakened and achy Michonne, mind you. And she's like, no. You saw what the governor did. He almost killed us and possibly killed half our people. We don't even know where Rick is. And the fact that these people kidnapped Glenn and Sasha, there ain't no nice about them. The apocalypse doesn't belong to nice people now. She understands how Tyrese and Dale are very similar in their moral ways, but she doesn't believe that these people were nice if they kidnapped them. The governor was he was the polar opposite of nice. And Daryl, unfortunately, has to agree and say that they gotta do what they gotta do, and if they have to kill him, they have to kill him. So, they traversed a long way after recovering for a good minute and collecting themselves to Atlanta, and then soon come across the outskirts of Grady Memorial Hospital. Now, this is where part 1 to the flashback will end, with Daryl, Michonne, Tyrese, and Dale on the hunt to save Glenn and Sasha. But were they successful, or did it have a very terrible cost? And that's where we're leaving things for the moment. Hope you guys like part 1 to this epic flashback and the little funny moments in between, because it definitely called for it. I saved some parts specifically long for this specific reason. One part I kind of just added in, one part was saved. But I hope you guys enjoyed this part nonetheless, because next time is going to be just as, or even more so, epic to witness. Part 2 of the flashback will come next time, and I'll see you guys then.
I carry within me the pride of a... Bullshit.